Well, we're here in the Oak Suite after racing at Shelbourne Park. We have seen the Derby field halved for the final time. We're down to the final 6 in the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. This Oak Suite will be the home for the Derby lunch on Monday afternoon. There'll be a lot of nervous connections, but they are thrilled to get over the line, and we are now looking forward to a wonderful BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. Of course, we're joined as always by a representative from BoyleSports, and it's the ever glamorous Sarah Kinsella. Sarah, we have our final 6, and a great final 6 at that.
Yeah, it is. I have to say I was quite surprised that the top 2 in the betting got knocked out, the Laddie Dan, Coolavani Hoffa, but that's racing in and you need a bit of luck. I'm absolutely thrilled to see Jennifer O'Donnell there because history could be made. It's never been done before where a little brother comes a year after and wins the Derby. I went through the history books and I thought I had seen something similar, but I didn't. They had same fathers with different mothers year after year, so it's terrific to see her there, and more women in sport is important. But Scott Phelan as well, what a story. Like, this is his first ever Derby final. They're going to be here on Monday. They're ecstatic. I'm delighted for them. So a great 6 finalists in. It's wide open. We had a look at the prices. Damien Lonigan was on the ball. He had the prices up straight away, and it's going to be one hell of a final. I literally can't pick one.
Before we get to the final itself, and we will talk about those prices, let's talk about the 2 semi-finals. The opening semi-final, Trinity Junior was installed a warm favourite. It's not often he misses the kick these days. He missed the kick tonight, and sadly that was the end of his Derby. It was fairly staggered from an early stage because Music Lightaway took a flyer from the outside, and once clearing the opening corner, it was pretty evident, sort of 50 yards from the bend, he was going to get around Well Met this week, whereas he couldn't last week. Once doing so, forget about it. Pat Guilfoyle is actually here tonight on a stag. Took time off the stag, his cousin stag, to go down, lead the dog, bring him to the traps, and clearly Pat wasn't exuding any nerves because the dog didn't show any, and he emerged a brilliant winner in 29.32. Much like Born Warrior last year, seems to be getting through the competition, getting better and better, and his trapping's improved greatly, and as a result he's in trap 6 in the Derby final. He has a serious chance. Behind him, Well Met, running so well, made the most of that draw, couldn't quite get in terms of Music Lightaway, but ran a fine race, and as you alluded to, 365 is there for Scott Phelan and the aptly named Pints of High No Syndicate. Can't wait to meet them on Monday.
Yeah, that's going to be some crack. I think his name was Michael, but I interviewed one of the connections up at the stand because I was doing a Roman sort of a thing earlier on for Vox Pops, so I'm going around with the microphone. Of course nobody would talk to me, and Ciara Byrne pushed your man down to me, says, would you go down and talk to the girl? And he told me the whole story about the gamble that they landed in Cheltenham and how they named the bitch Bet 365 because they landed the gamble with obviously Bet 365, luckily not BoyleSports, and then the High No Syndicate as well. So a great group of lads, and sure, look, I can imagine what they were like when their dog qualified. Like, you could hear the screams, especially when we were doing the draw. They haven't got the best draw, but look, that's just the way it goes. You're in the final, they'll be here sitting on these tables. The place is already decorated, it looks great. We can't wait to welcome them on Monday, so hopefully a few of them will show up. But yeah, look, just based on the way, as you touched on, Trinity Junior, he couldn't afford to miss the kick tonight, and I would have said beforehand, if he misses the kick he won't qualify. He's that type of dog. He nearly needs to be in front to win, a bit like Hoffa, to be honest with you, Ian, and I was disappointed he didn't get through, but we'll touch on that in a minute. Music Lightaway, I think that's his fastest sectional that he's produced in this Derby so far. At
3:43, 17:06. You know, we've seen faster in this year's Derby, but to the eye it was pretty taken.
It was, and I said this on RPG TV earlier on. I actually tipped Well Met in this, and I was like, look, he's not doing flashy times, but that doesn't matter. You could do 29.15 every single round, you might not win Derby final, it doesn't matter about the times, so I wouldn't be bothered about that. Like, I think he'll break again like that on Saturday night, and who knows, if you get that type of dog, Music Lightaway, if he's in front, he can't be passed because he's such a huge engine. He has the pace.
29.32 tonight was considerably faster than any other run over 5.7 or over 5.50 yards here this evening. That's tells you where he's at and how well he's feeling in himself. Sometimes dogs, you know, you don't have to be up close to know that they're in great form. This fellow told everyone in the stadium he was in great form.
Yeah, he did, and I always say this about Patrick Guilfoyle's dogs, but you can see yourself in them. They're absolutely shining. They're glossy.
I thought you were comparing yourself to a dog.
Oh God,
there.
no. Jesus, no, I'm not that bad. Not yet, anyway. But no, his dogs look immaculate. They really do. They all do, but just particularly Patrick Guilfoyle's. They're always in tip-top order. They're always consistent, Ian, and look, he's in another Derby final. As you say, he was on the stag, but he's used to this with good news and all these fabulous dogs he's had down through the years. There ain't no nerves with Patrick Guilfoyle, but I'll tell you who was nervous. The Buckleys were very nervous because they were actually convinced the draw was just so bad that they couldn't make it through. So, but anyway, we'll touch on that in a sec.
We will indeed. Well Met was second for John Jones. The Jones family, of course, had our surprise reach a Derby final. Sadly, couldn't take his place in the final. So here we are, just a matter of 4 or 5 years later, and Well Met is in the Derby final, and they've got Trap 1 again. They will be chuffed. Given his early speed and his ability to front up, he certainly has strong claims, and we'll touch upon his price, but 365 was always third. You know, this wasn't a case of her storming home to grab third. She was always third, and I think for Scott Phelan and the Pints of Highness Syndicate, this was easy viewing, shall we say.
Yeah, it was. She's quite a nice bitch to watch, actually. She's easy on the eye, I suppose you could say, but I'm delighted for John
Bit like
Jones.
myself.
Bit like, yeah, I knew that was coming. But look, Well Met. I met Brian Jones in Dundalk on Friday night. We had a few runners. Obviously, he's the vet on call down there, and I says to him, "Well, are you happy with the draw?" And he's absolutely delighted. He says, all I want is to qualify. Of course, that's what they all say, but he's delighted. And a big roar came from the stand when I pulled him out of Trap 1 as well. So, look, I'm delighted for them. But it's just, to be honest with you, I picked those three. I think when I spoke to you when we were doing the Talking Dogs, I'm pretty sure I picked those three, maybe not in that order, but I'm pretty sure I picked those 3 dogs to get through, and a lot of people would, to be honest. Like Clonrusk Sydney was just too far out. He just had too much work to do.
It just didn't happen for the remaining trio. Seven Beach didn't get the flower he needed. Trinity Junior, as we alluded to, just didn't get a start and just found bother. And the same for Clonrusk Sydney. But we have 3 wonderful finalists to look forward to now, and the best of luck to them. They'll be here on Monday, as you said, and then looking forward to Shelbourne Park next Saturday night. On to the second semi-final, a red hot affair. We knew it was going to come down to narrow margins. In the end, the other Kobe sort of put it beyond doubt pretty quickly. Shot from traps a second week running. He's done that, much like his brother last year. He's now sort of mastered his trade at the boxes, and he's absolutely flying. So delighted for Brian Clare and David Lestrange. They bought a dog last year with a view to having a potential Derby contender, and to fluff his lines, crashing out the way he did in the opening round, stumbling badly at traps. It was so disappointing for them, but here they are a year later. Like, sport is amazing. You know, it's all cyclical. Comes your luck is good one year, bad the next, or bad the first year, good the next, and here we are. He's in a Derby final, and he'll be Derby favourite. Joining him is Ben's Teddy, absolutely hammered home. He was always in a position to qualify, even with Hoffa in third at the third bend. You just knew this fellow was going to come with an absolute rattle, as he has done in recent weeks. And Bocco's Crystal, I thought she ran a remarkable race tonight. She didn't flash out. She showed amazing early speed to nearly join the other Kobe on the corner. I think she can be a big player in the final. She's one of 2 bitches. Get in that line before you. I know you were going to allude to the 2 ladies. 29.58 from the other Kobe. And as you said earlier on, bidding to emulate his brother Born Warrior from 12 months ago. Yeah,
wouldn't that be magical if that was to happen? And I know I can't pin one dog, but there's a story attached to every finalist, and that's the beauty of this sport. But if the other Kobe was to do it, I mean, it'd be a remarkable training performance from Jennifer alone to do that. You know, like as I mentioned, she's had a tough period with their family having a death in the family and all that, so they haven't had the easiest of times. So this dog, I'm sure, is bringing plenty of love and light into that household, and it's wonderful to see. But look, Da, yes, disappointing, but and Coolavani Hoffa, to be honest, when I seen him coming up between the third and fourth bends, I thought, oh, that's it, he'll qualify. I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, but it is Ben's Teddy. Yeah,
I'm being unfair, maybe.
You're being harsh. Yeah,
and like, I've been protective of the dog.
If it was any other dog in behind him, you go, he is life.
Yeah.
But Ben's Teddy, like, the clocks are there. Like, he's
just
absolutely hammering home. Like, he picks up Bocco's Crystal from where he was.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as if he just picked up Hoffa. He picked up Bocco's Crystal as well. That's just how powerful he's running, and he's a big player too.
He is, yeah, because Bocco's Crystal is not easy to pick up, and Coolavani Hoffa couldn't pick her up when she won the heat against him as well. But I am delighted to see Graham Holland there. We actually, a company that we use, interviewed Graham Holland, people called Pressbox, and they asked him loads of questions about just greyhound racing in general, and he touched on the fact that greyhound racing should have its own Netflix series. Like, how cool would that be? You know, you've seen it in Formula 1 and all sorts of things, and it would promote our sport and show the people out there all over the world what this sport means and what it means to individual people. Like, even with my dad, like, greyhounds saved my dad's life. He was paralysed and he couldn't use his arms, and you know, he used to make my mum tie leads to his wrists. I've told you the story before, and he got the power back in his arms. That's why it's so passionate in our household and why it means so much to us. because of these things that these dogs can do. And one animal can change your life. That's all it takes. So I'm sure when we hear the stories from the 6 finalists on Monday, that's one of my favourite parts of the Derby, Ian, is listening to all the different stories.
Free lunch.
And a free lunch. Everyone loves a free lunch and a free glass of vino.
You know there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Well, that's true.
Anyway,
well,
whether Netflix or not come on board,
Yeah.
there's plenty of drama being provided by these 6 finalists. The other Kobe, away and gone. Yeah, he had to hold on off from the bitch at the opening corner. Once doing so, though, he was always going to be very difficult to pass. And as we said, he goes on to score. Do you have their distances written down as a matter of interest?
No, I don't. And I
No,
thought you might as well.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I do have them down. What were the distances, the first 3 or 4?
In this heat?
Yeah.
What was the distance between 2 and 4?
Yeah, between the winner and the second.
I'm going to say half a length.
Okay, and between second and third,
A length and a half.
and third and fourth.
I don't know. I was only I was in the middle of the track. I can't see much.
It's just like he's made the mind play tricks. You know, like I'm up to my neck in the commentary box. You're up to your neck outside. It was 3 parts of a length, and 3 parts of a length.
Oh, I wasn't
like
too
these
far.
are like 4 amazingly fast greyhounds. Only
Yeah.
2.5 lengths between them on the line. It just goes to show it's
blanket finish.
small margins. But the other Colby will go through to the Derby final with a serious chance from the same box that he ran from tonight. In 4, in second was Ben Steady. He'll race from 3 in the final, and back in third was Bocco's Crystal. She raced from 3 tonight. She races from 5 next week. I don't think it'll be a major issue because I think she probably has the early speed to lead those just in her immediate inside, and I think she could be a big player. 29.58. We don't read too much into the time. I think Barry calls it at best on Virgin Media this evening. He said, you know, the track can go back 4 lengths in the space of a half an hour.
Yeah.
So just ignore the times. It's all about being out in front in the Derby final, and that's where we're going now. We'll mention the 3 dogs that didn't qualify. Deladida, his youth and inexperience in the end did cost him a bit. Missed a kick tonight. Actually showed loads of pace to get involved, but was forced to check off the. Well, he wasn't forced to check. He could have stayed to the inside, but he decided just to drift off, and as a result, had to check on heels. And that cost him his position.
Yeah.
He got done again at the third bend and ended up finishing well off the pace. But it is worth remembering that he really did light up the early rounds of the Derby. And I don't know whether they'll run him in the Juvenile Derby, which starts on Friday. It could be a big ask for him. But I'll tell you something, he's a dog with a huge future. The other one that didn't qualify was Coulivan Hoffa. He missed a kick. Showed loads of pace into the corner. He's forced out wide. Flies down the back straight, but by that point he's done his running, and all of a sudden Ben Steady's on his tail. Forget about qualifying, but he's been a star. I hope we see him again. I don't know if we will. You know, we had to wait 10 months between dances, between last year's Derby semi-final and this year's first round of the Derby, and of course Raham Ofo. It could potentially be her last race if she breaks. Whether they'll run her next week, I don't know. I'd love to see her again. She's been a star, but we can't forget that the 3 dogs that went out played such a part in this year's Derby.
They did, of course, and everyone was talking about Deladida and Coulivan Hoffa for the simple reasons that they were at the top of the betting. Coulivan Hoffa was our anti-post favourite from way before the Derby started, and he only got taken over as anti-post favourite last week after Deladida's performance. That's always a tongue twister.
Say
that
that
one
10 times fast.
I would like to be saying that in the pub, but yeah, look, the fact that the 2 of them got knocked out, it's very good for our book, for BoyleSports book, because they were big red figures for us for a long time. But it is sad to see them go out. But look, that's greyhound racing. Yeah,
that is greyhound racing. So to the final, the trap draw. 1 well met, 2 the other Kobe. 3 is Ben's Teddy. 4 is 365. In 5, Bocco's Crystal. And 6, the Soul Wide Seed Music Glide Away. Your initial thoughts when you first looked at it, and now how you're feeling?
Well met.
Well met was your initial thoughts.
I thought he ran exceptional tonight. It's just when you have a dog like Music Glide Away in front of you, it's very hard to pass him. But I think if he leads next week in along the rails, I think he won't be passed. He's terrific value. He's 7-2. Damien Lonigan priced it up. I just have to go with a bit of value. The other Kobe is 2-1 favourite. That's not a bad price in itself. We were looking at the betting earlier on. What did we say, about 115% the betting market? So it is a good betting market. But I'm going to stick with Well Met. As soon as I made the draw and I seen him come out, and I thought to myself, I think he'll win the Derby. The other Kobe's in 2, Ben's Teddy 365, Bocco's Crystal Music Glide Away. Just give us a remainder of the prices there. The other Kobe 2-1, Ben's Teddy. Ben's Teddy is 9-2.
9-2. 365. She is the outsider of the party. That's without question. But she can play a part.
Of course she can. Yeah, she's 33.
33-1. Bocco's Crystal's in 5.
Bocco's Crystal is 2-1. Oh, sorry, she's not 2-1. What price have I got down? I have the wrong price. Oh, she's 9-2.
9-2 Bocco's Crystal. And Music Glide Away on the outside. The sole wide seat after a flashy run tonight and a big run last week.
He's 3-1.
Could be a bit of value there. Anyway, that's it. Derby final to look forward to. So your colours are firmly in the well met mast.
Yeah, I think I have fallen in love with the dog. That's what 2 heats he's won, I think, in the Derby. He's not doing flashy times, but he's running at a very high level. He's coming into form at the right time. The fact that they've come into the Derby with one single dog and they're still there, I think that's a remarkable story after what happened with them at our surprise last year. And they're a lovely family. Look, same with Jennifer O'Donnell. There's a story there. There's a story with 365 and the other Kobe. There's a story attached to all of them, but I have to pick one, and it's well met.
It is indeed well met. That's it. We know our final 6 next Saturday night here at Shelbourne Park in front of a packed stand, the greatest night in World Greyhound Racing. We will crown the 2023 BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Champion. We will have loads, and I mean loads of stuff for you during the week, from the Derby lunch, of course Talking Dogs on Tuesday, with Barry Drake on Thursday with his podcast. Loads to look forward to. That's all looking ahead to the final of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby for 2023. That's it. We'll see you next Saturday night.